My name is Eric Atria, and you're watching Musicians on Bicycles Getting Popsicles. My guest today is Jason Rockhill. Jason has been singing in bands since the early 90s, but he's better known for his behind-the-scenes work. As tour manager for Discount and Hot Water Music, he spent many years on the road making sure tours went according to plan. After retiring from the road, he returned to Gainesville to help run Common Grounds. Common Grounds was Gainesville's premier music venue for years. You couldn't go anywhere in the country and tell people you were from Gainesville without them mentioning Common Grounds. Jason used his road experience to help run shows in-house. However, after many years, he and co-owner Nigel Hand decided to close the club down for good. It's been a few years, but Jason is still doing what he loves. Let's check in and see what he's been up to.
So besides singing, have you played other instruments ever?
I'm sure I could if I put my mind to it, but I just have never sat myself down and made myself like, okay, I'm gonna learn how to play a song today. I was like always like drawn to the bands I like, whatever, by lyrics and vocals anyway. So it's always kind of been the thing I start with a band. And not that I really think I sing much. I just kind of holler.
You perform as a singer in bands.
I kind of holler in key.
Yeah, no, you definitely have more of an intonation than most singers in the style that you're usually involved in. What's the first time you were in a band?
My brother and I did like a little cover band thing when we both, like, I had just graduated from high school and Todd was still in high school. I graduated from high school in '92. So like senior in high school, all of those like big deal records come out, like Nirvana, and like, especially growing up in that little, basically Vero Beach is like a retirement community. It's God's waiting room. Punk rock or whatever it was, I thought was dead with the Sex Pistols or whatever, you know, that there was this current vibrant rock scene that wasn't Aerosmith. Like, I didn't know, because at Vero Beach, Florida, I just didn't hang with that group of kids. I didn't have that older cousin that, you know, all that shit. I don't know, like that's just one of the things like that got me into singing in the first place, is that there's certain, you know, like REM's probably my favorite band. When I first got into them in like 7th grade, I was like, you know, singing along. I was like, I can do this. And then once all that like 90s alternative rock stuff, then it's like, this is easy. I can really do this.
When did you meet the Hot Water guys?
Hot Water guys I met through Discount, which is like that. They're from Vero Beach too. And that's who I started going on tour with, was a friend of theirs and made myself useful. And then when they started going on tour, they asked me to go. So I think Hot Water had a little bit of like, he would be really good for us, I think. So
even back then you had kind of the sense of responsibility? Yeah,
responsibility. And, you know, I was a guy who, like, if we had to drive all night long, I just would do it, you know. And especially then, like, this was like the bare bones of touring. We're playing in houses, the shittiest club in the shittiest neighborhood in every town, in every state, everywhere, sleeping on floors with like, basically like teenage squat houses, you know, like it's just what it was.
Especially at that age, I'm sure it
was like this huge adventure.
Right.
For the most part, where some nights you're seeing just amazing other bands and some nights it's the worst thing in the world, but it's like one long bonding experience.
Right.
You do kind of develop this like huge like brotherhood of people that you're friends with all over the country, have been through this same thing as you.
Right.
And a lot of like, you know, the people we were friends with were all kind of coming up at the same time. Discount would go on tour with Hot Water Music. Discount also do shows with Les and Jake. And then Alkaline Trio has become this really big band, and we were really good friends with them as they were beginning. Played like their first few shows out of town. You get to see these like people on the rise.
Yeah.
People who've like almost got there and plateaued. People who went up for a second and then nosedived. So you see this whole range of people, and there's really no, aside from like an ounce or two of inspiration here and there, there's really no difference between the approach of a lot of those bands. Right. It's just being lucky and being in the right time and having the right booking agent and getting on the right tour. And
in the dynamic of your group, how do you guys observe other bands doing those things and keep yourselves separate, meaning you're not like, shit, are we just doing that same plateau, or are we just doing the same crash?
Well, I think there was a feeling, and a kind of the reason Discount ended. And Discount was Allison Mosshart, who's now in the Kills and does the Dead Weather with Jack White. I think that's one of the things that led to kind of Discount's end. feeling like you're as good or as deserving as any band is, and just for whatever reason, not getting that one little break. Discount's last record basically fell apart from a record label standpoint. They went away and had like recorded J. Robbins in DC, and was thinking it was like a big step forward for them. And
Sure.
then the label falls apart. A successful band navigates those speed bumps. You know, it's hard to keep 4 people, 5 people, depending on what band it is, like 6 people, 20 people, like, you know, on the same page, same goals.
How many years did you put in on the road, would you say?
Probably about 7 or 8, you know, 6 to 9 months a year on tour. And that's kind of like the reason I quit doing the hot water stuff.
I remember you telling me about
It's
being
like-
in the same shitty venue in New Mexico.
Well, no.
4 times
It's,
in the
it's
same
actually
year.
a really cool place. It's a launch pad in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Being in Albuquerque, New Mexico 4 times in 12 months, you know, it's not the highlight of your tour ever, really. Kind of hammered it home like, wow, we are stuck in this little track, just driving around in circles. And while I'm having a good time and everyone that's important in my life I've met through this, I got to jump off this merry-go-round. When you're the other guy, it doesn't matter what you want to do.
You're working for them.
You're working for them, so it's your job, and you either like follow along or you jump off. And then that's when Common Grounds happened.
Common Grounds was your way to kind of keep doing what you
I
did
keep
well,
doing- yeah.
but in one place all the time.
Yeah, and I kept using the analogy like I'm basically the same job as I was tour managing, but I didn't have to eat breakfast at a gas station this morning, you know, like.
Yeah, big snake. Whoa. Did you tour other countries with them?
Yeah, I did like 4 European tours. I went to Japan once with Discount.
That's cool. What was like the biggest thing that you had to like regulate, like a problem as a tour manager?
I had to talk some people out of getting arrested before, and done some serious lying to border crossing things. Mostly Canada was always a pain in the ass.
Or you just saying like you're trying to pretend that you're not an active band working? Is that
Yeah,
what
we were always like, it was the whole thing, like we were going to record. We had a meeting with management in Vancouver.
Did that ever not work?
And this was pre, like now, like they just pull you up on the internet and like, you've got a show tonight in.
Now, at Common Grounds, how many years did you do that again?
So as an owner, it was like a little over 7 years.
I remember it's had to be roughly 10 years ago when it first moved to the bigger building. There was one of those like Gainesville's top 40 under 40, and you were one of them?
I was one of those. Yeah.
What do you think about that now?
I feel like we didn't live up to what we thought we could be. When we first opened up, we spent a lot of money trying to convince people to come back to Gainesville because there hadn't been anywhere to play. But I was thinking about this the other day, like, are there people who find complete artistic satisfaction with Instagram? Like,
Yeah, totally.
are they completely and fully creating what they think is art, meaningful shit
Yes. Totally.
through the filters on Instagram?
Totally.
I think there are.
Sure, no, I think there are. Just as I think there are people who, like I said, don't want to start a band but would rather sit with a laptop and make something, which isn't wrong in and of itself, but I don't know, I don't like laptop music.
Yeah.
I feel like you should, if you're on stage, you shouldn't have a laptop. But it's just kind of weird how it's enveloping live music.
This has turned into old dude rant out of touch guy.
We can get back on track. Who was like one of the coolest guys or girls? I mean, just a musician who you didn't expect to just be totally laid back and no ego.
I thought the drive-by trucker shows we did were always fun. Those guys are pretty laid back.
It seemed like Mike Watt was pretty laid back.
Mike Watt was pretty cool. Like and I'm like pretty huge Mike Watt fan. I had him sign my Ball Hog or Tugboat tape, and he wrote on it, "Mike Watt loves Georgie and D. Boone," and I almost cried.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't George Clinton ask for some sort of cocaine?
No, George Clinton asked everyone within earshot of him at any point of the night where he could score some crack. Yeah, but that wasn't in the
That had nothing to do
that
with
wasn't
you.
in the contract.
Right. I shook his hand that night.
Yeah.
He stumbled in like a homeless man. It was incredible.
Yeah, he was.
Nobody noticed him come in. Did you and Nigel together realize that you had to get out? Was it separate realization? Was it?
We had vaguely talked about like, okay, what's the exit plan? You know, not in those words, but like kind of how we, like, we can't do this forever. It's certainly not making us money. And then we'd have that conversation every year for the last few years of it. And then at the end, it was like, I do not want to go through another summer.
Right. That was really sad for a lot of people. I'm sure you guys too. But I think it made sense.
Yeah, I mean.
But I mean, what I always wonder is, if you guys couldn't do it, who's supposed to be able to do it? I really want that pineapple ginger. It's a tough call between pineapple ginger and pink grapefruit. To me, there's a science behind it in that it's super hot in the middle of the day, so you gotta go juicy.
Oh, yeah.
After dinner and a little cooler weather, you definitely go creamy. Yeah, milky, yeah.
One of the times Hot Water Music did the Warped Tour, you know, like it's sponsored by like really terrible shit like Spam and Yoo-Hoo. So like there'd be many times you go back to the bus and the Warped Tour is like parking lots and like fairgrounds and like you're just in the sun, dirty, like you go back to the bus and the only thing cold to drink is Yoo-Hoo.
How long have you been in Gainesville?
I guess it's been about 18 years.
When you were done touring, and then you did Common Grounds, and then you were done with Common Grounds, did you have a part of you that wanted to get away for a while?
Well, I kind of did. I mean, I helped Pat and Mo open up Double Down, but then and what I wanted right after that is I just wanted a job, like manual labor, like put my head down and work. You know, I needed some time to like, I don't want to say decompress because that's a stupid word, but
I use that word.
But you know, I needed like a palate cleansing maybe. You know, and it's been 3 years now, coming up.
Wow, yeah.
In this month, 3 years. And I'm, you know, now ready to get back at it.